The following podcast is brought to you by patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca. Like what you hear? Want more of it ad-free, uncensored, and earlier? Sign up today at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca and start getting more for as little as $2 a month.
Don't miss your favorite superstars take center stage to forge the future of the hottest new brand in WWE.
Welcome to Forging the Future. I'm at Adam Conta. You may be wondering, hey, where's Jeff Dehan? Well, Jeff Dehan had some family stuff to deal with, so he asked one of us to reach out and do Forging the Future this week. And Drew Ferris stepped up to the plate and said, you know what, I'm going to take care of it this weekend. And then his computer crashed, completely exploded. He couldn't handle the awesome, and he just couldn't get an episode out to us. So that has led us to here. Where is here? The front seat of my Nissan Kicks at 12:22 a.m. on Sunday. This podcast does not get more recent than this. I've just finished having my late night McDonald's meal because it was the only restaurant in Nap City, Napanee, Ontario, Canada, that was open. I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here and rant. I just got back from the Chinlock wrestling event out at the Leon Center. It was amazing. I'm sure I'm going to talk a little bit about that event more over on the Wrestling Show. We've got so many interviews that came out of that show. I'll run through some of them right now for you. Billy Gunn, Swoggle. I got to sit down with Allison Kay for Women Crush Wrestling. We talked to Arda Ocal and Jimmy Corderas of Aftermath TV. RJ City granted us an interview that was so cool. Just great stuff. And we got to meet some really great people, of course, all the legends that were in attendance. They were all nice enough to give us some time. I had a fun little Shockmaster moment with Fred Ottman, a.k.a. the Shockmaster, which you're going to see eventually on our YouTube channel when we put up some of that video footage. And boy, man, have we got some great Danny franchise stories. But we'll save that for this upcoming week here at WrestleMedia. The point is, we finished up, we packed all of our bags, and most people wanted to go to bed. They were tired, and that's fine. I got no problem with that, but I'm a little bit hungry. Now, there has been a Denny's here in Napanee for a number of years now. And if there's one thing you can always count on for a Denny's, it's that it's always open. That's why a lot of wrestlers love the place, because it's always open. After a late show, you know you can depend on Denny's to be open. Except in Napanee, Ontario. I decided that I was going to eat at the Napanee Denny's because it's close to where I'm staying with my folks tonight. That was a bad decision, apparently, because I pulled up there at 1:45 to midnight. You know, late, but not too late, but it doesn't matter because Denny's is open 24/7. It's right off the highway. It's there for anybody who's tired and hungry and wants a super bird sandwich or a moons over my hammy. Not tonight, apparently. They close at midnight. What is wrong with this picture? Denny's don't close. They don't close. I think they're even open on Christmas Day. Well, needless to say, the only restaurant in all of Napanee that's open is the McDonald's drive-thru. So I grabbed myself a nice quarter-pounder BLT and a milkshake. I gave myself a milkshake. I'm trying to stay off sugar. I'm trying to stay away from dairy. But I gave myself a cheat day today because I had a very long but rewarding day. The only positive that came out of it is that I ran into Tommy Dreamer at the Flying J. So that was kind of neat. I tried to get him on the podcast, but I decided against it because I imagine if I'm Tommy Dreamer and there's a Denny's and it's about to close and I'm hungry, I don't want some kid pestering me to say, like, would you come on my podcast? Plus, it would be weird to have Tommy Dreamer talking about Forging the Future stuff, I think. Woo! It has been a day, but it has been a wonderful day. Allow me to take this moment to once again thank Jan Murphy for inviting WrestleMedia to be a part of the incredible happening that was Chinlock 5. I had a blast. I'm sure everybody on our team had an absolute blast. And now that that is over, we have even more events to look forward to, like our big event for Queen Street Entertainment's live pro wrestling show, June the 29th in Renfrew. Cecil Nix is going to be on the card. Addie Starr is going to be on the card. Tabernacle de Team is going to be on the card. The NBA, that's Michael Von Payton and Raheem Ali are going to be on the card. I want to talk about guys fighting for the future, forging their own futures. That's those guys and gals right there in a nutshell. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, go pick them up because we are going to be there. And I also happen to be working on a few other things. Couple of other shows that we're going to be appearing on. I know Michael Walsh has been hard at work trying to get a few as well. So if you want to find out where we're going to be next, your best bet is to visit our website, WrestleMedia.ca, and click on the On Tour button. You'll find out where we're going to be and why you should be going to those cool events. Now, one of the things that we did a lot of in the past 24 hours is sign up people for our newsletter. We had this kind of a cool contest where we were giving away a pair of tickets to SummerSlam here in Toronto. And all you had to do was sign up for our newsletter for free. Now, if you want to be winners like all the folks we met at the Chinlock Convention and Wrestling Show today, then all you got to do is head over to WrestleMedia.ca and you'll get a pop-up that will say, hey, do you want to join up for the newsletter? And of course you want to, so say yes. Now, if you visited the site before and you've gotten that pop-up, and for one reason or another you chose to ignore it, hey, that's fine. There's a button at the top that says newsletter. So just click on that, and boom, you can go ahead and sign up for the newsletter. It's completely free. Every single week, we're going to give you that newsletter for free, and we're going to give you fun stuff that is not going to be available to anyone who is not a member. For example, Jen and I, on Women Crush Wrestling, announced that we are going to be doing a giveaway for the new Trish Stratus and Lita Best Friends, Better Rivals DVD. And you're only going to be able to enter that contest if you're a member of our newsletter distribution. So go get it for free, okay? All right. Not just doing this for you, I'm doing it for me too. I should have said that the other way around. Not just doing it for me, I'm doing it for you. Well, I lost my opportunity there. So what do you do when it's a last-minute thing, all your resources have been tapped, and you're tired and not feeling great because you just ate a greasy McDonald's burger, sitting in the parking lot, in your car, recording a podcast? You push on through, because that's what those men and women at Forging the Future do. So what I've done is I've pulled up WrestlingInc.com, not I-N-K, but I-N-C, as in incorporated. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to find some NXT news. We're just going to talk about it. I'm going to give my ideas, my thoughts, and then, maybe we'll get a show out of it. We'll see. So the first bit of news is that the first bit of nose would probably be Danny Franchise, and then a whole lot more of nose. He has a big nose. That's what I'm saying. It's not Ric Flair big, but it's close. Yeah, I compared Danny Franchise to Ric Flair. Do something about it. World Wrestling Network just announced in a press release the next WWN seminar/tryout is going to be on June 30th in Brooklyn, New York, and NXT star Roderick Strong will be the special guest. Now, according to WWN, this is an opportunity to get booked in NXT, or Evolve, or Shine, or FIP, and other members of the WWN family of promotions. And at least one participant from this WWN seminar or tryout on June 30th will be an extra on an NXT taping, and at least one talent will be booked on the Evolve card later that evening. The track record for these seminars and tryouts is pretty good, with over 100 talents that have been booked for several promotions, and the latest to get a WWN contract is Anthony Green. The seminar and tryout is open to all wrestlers, managers, and referees who have completed a training course and are at least 18 years old. They have a link to it as well, and Strong tweeted out the press release from WWN Live and said he was very excited for this. Now, I've heard that Roderick Strong is kind of a teacher. He's good with people. He knows how to show them how to do the moves and stuff. So let's go ahead and break down kind of my reaction to it. This is great stuff. Obviously, the WWE's main roster gets their talent from NXT, and NXT needs some rosters to get their talent from. And in this case, it could be these WWN seminars and tryouts. So that's good news. As for the opportunity to be booked in NXT, Evolve, Shine, FIP, and other promotions for WWN, I mean, that's a great opportunity. It's more exposure for any of the talent who was able to do so. So I'm in favor of that. I think that's great. Having the great track record of over 100 talents been booked in several promotions is a good thing as well. The thing that I find most interesting about this is that the winner, the winner of the tryout, someone is going to be an extra on NXT, and one's going to get booked on the Evolve card later on. So some really great opportunities here for anybody who wants to go out there and really maximize their minutes. I think that's very important stuff, to be honest with you. I want to quickly switch over to 205 Live. I know we normally talk about NXT, but this format is all over the place recently, so we're just going to ignore that and just put the pedal to the metal and move forward. So for a long time, Mike and Maria Kanellis have been kind of teasing that they had asked for their release. Back in January, there were reports of the two of them doing just that due to how they were being utilized or not utilized, depending on who you ask, within the company. Now, Maria would later deny that she had not asked for her release. And, of course, last month, she kind of shook things up on social media by saying contracts are up in 3 weeks, just saying. So, of course, that meant everybody was speculating, oh, God, they're not going to re-sign, they're going to move on to someone else, or, what do they want, what are they looking for, that kind of thing. And, of course, Maria later came back and said that, she just meant her gym membership. Well, she meant her real contracts, but if you're a fan of Mike and Maria on 205 Live, then you're probably going to be pretty happy. Apparently, they have signed a multi-year deal with WWE, I'm guessing anywhere between 5 and 7 years. Now, in the report, the duo said they were happy with the final offers made to them by WWE. So the question then becomes, does that mean that they were getting more money? Does that mean they were guaranteed more of a push? Who knows? But we do know those contracts are for a lot longer now. 5 years, that's quite a haul for any kind of team, especially with the talent of Mike and Maria. So I hope they do well. I'm glad that they're there for longer term. Clearly, they want to keep them from going somewhere else and becoming really huge. There's a lot of people out there that would kind of automatically say, go to AEW, which, certainly wouldn't be a bad fit. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. But I will say this. I think I'd like to see, if they were going to go anywhere, I'd love to see Maria and Mike back in Impact, because I really enjoyed their work there. But they're not going anywhere. They're going to stick around in the WWE, and that means that the greatest theme song in history continues to play on. And that is really the most important thing as far as I'm concerned. Now, here's some interesting news that the Wrestling Observer Radio has mentioned that's probably going to upset Jeff a little bit when he comes back. I'll be interested to hear what he has to say about it. So apparently Matt Riddle is expected to remain in NXT for a long time, as WWE isn't looking to rush him into anything. Now, Riddle was initially expected to feud with NXT champion Adam Cole, but after the most recent NXT tapings, which we're not going to really talk about because of the spoilers and whatnot, that's shaping up pretty differently. Now, Riddle just appeared in NXT last August, so let's be fair here. Guy hasn't even been there a year, all right? In fact, his in-ring debut took place in October. Riddle's NXT Brooklyn event was just more of an appearance. He just showed up, but he didn't do any fighting until little bit later. And then he went on and he got his undefeated streak. And then, unfortunately, Velveteen Dream at TakeOver New York knocked him off the mountain, so to speak. And that was it. Now, Dave Meltzer had previously noted that Adam Cole and NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler are two names he always hears about getting called to the main roster. Well, I mean, yeah, for goodness sake. Adam Cole is one of the most talented performers they have on that roster, to be sure. There's no question about it whatsoever. Shayna Baszler, she's been ready for a while, let's be honest here. I mean, I got no problem talking about Shayna Baszler and going to bat for her because she's fantastic. She is, for me, is 90% of the time my highlight for NXT programming. So, you know, I'm fine with Shayna getting the call up. I'm fine with Cole getting the call up. He's a great talent as well, and I don't see any reason why they wouldn't just continue to push him as far as they possibly can. Now, let's go back over to AEW for a minute because we're getting a lot of reports from, again, the Wrestling Observer radio show that a lot of talent want out, and the number of WWE superstars who have reached out to AEW would blow people's minds. Again, that's according to Wrestle Observer Radio. So, excuse me. I don't necessarily think that that's untrue. But you always have to take these articles with a grain of salt, right? This idea that, oh God, so many talent are asking for their releases. We all know the end is coming, you know? Eventually, but sometimes you don't get to make those terms. So, especially with some of the talents, you know, that have been rumored recently, the Usos, AJ Styles, they decided to stay with WWE, but guys like Dustin Rhodes, Jon Moxley, Shawn Spears, they already jumped over to All Elite. So the report continued that the WWE is definitely offering up more money to keep people around, but some within the company feel miserable, and money isn't necessarily enough to keep them around. It's so funny because earlier tonight I was interviewing Allison Kay, and we were talking about how you kind of need that. You need that balance because although it is super, super nice and convenient and helpful to have a bunch of money, truth of the matter is, you know, if you're not happy doing what you do, well, what's the point, right? So I'm sure that some of them feel that way. I'm not sure if so many of them do that it's got Vince panicking like some say they are. Excuse me. So here's some interesting news for anybody who checked out the Super Showdown event and thought to themselves, man, you know what? This show is missing NXT guys because Triple H spoke to the media last weekend after WWE's second Saudi Arabian-based pay-per-view event, Super Showdown. And what he had to say was pretty interesting. He's the guy behind WWE's developmental brand and said that NXT's staple pay-per-view TakeOver could eventually find itself being hosted in Saudi Arabia. He says the key factor would be discovering talent from the area first before developing them into the NXT system. I don't think that's true. And I'm not trying to make liars out of them or anything like that. However, you know, how do we go ahead and believe that sort of thing? You know what I mean? It's just crazy. Or at least we would think it would be crazy, except that he said it. Triple H said the goal is to be able to find talent here, recruit talent here, train talent, and be able to build something off the ground here. Now, whether that's bringing an NXT takeover here or whether that's building a brand here will yet to be determined. It just depends on how quickly we can find talent and how quickly we can train them. Well, they got the UK school out now. I heard that they were thinking about one in Australia. I don't know if they're planning on doing one in Saudi Arabia, but, you know, this sounds a lot like Triple H saying, like, oh, we could, if we really wanted to. He's just, you know, giving the good, canned corporate answers, essentially, is what it feels like to me here. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. So, yeah, potentially potentially Saudi Arabia NXT show. It's a little odd, I'm not going to lie. I don't think that's a bad. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that we're getting expansion, but maybe Saudi Arabia not the best choice, possibly. Maybe I'm wrong on that one, but that's the way I feel about it. So I'm taking a look through here to see what other information we have from NXT. Montez Ford talking about his reaction to hitting that wild ladder spot at NXT TakeOver 25. If you don't know what we're talking about, man, he had some incredible moves during that show. And I want to say this one might have been the one where he jumped from the corner onto the ladder, like the big finish one. I don't know. Let's see what he has to say. In the article that I'm reading, it says NXT has already built that type of aura as far as those main stages. Now, this is Ford talking about NXT. It wasn't attached to those big four, Survivor Series, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Royal Rumble, as people would say that. So for us to be on the single solitary weekend and have that much attention on us, well, that is the intimidating factor. Right away. Not only all the eyes will be watching us, but we have to go out, we have to go out there and we have to take it. NXT TakeOver has already built the vision to the wrestling world and the brand. Our main thing was just to go out there and actually show people just who we are. Period. I want to get to the ladder spot because obviously a lot of people remembered that. So, this ladder match that Montez Ford had along with Angelo Dawkins and the other three teams they faced at TakeOver 25, Ford said that he was terrified to perform that leap from the ladder to the ropes and said that he could change arms. And, Ford even said he'd change his name had he miscalculated the jump. And I think that means just basically, he'd have to change everything about himself because he'd be so messed up afterwards. He said, it was terrifying. I even remember towards the end of the match where Dawkins speared Steve Cutler, and I was like, oh man, I have to go. I'm just thinking as I'm getting up there like, man, if I don't make this, I just won't show my face anymore. I'll just leave the show I'll just leave the company, change my name, and might go buy a different name. Different alias. I'll move to another country or something. It might get so bad. I might move way up grid and change my name because if I don't make that jump, all these things are going through my head as I go up the top rope, leaping to the ladder. You can even see once I landed, you can see my eyes that are in shock that I made it. Yeah, man, it was a pretty cool match. I liked it. I know that Jeff talked a little bit about it already here, but it's just interesting to get in the mindset of somebody like a Montez Ford, like an Angelo Dawkins, and kind of really get into what's going on in their head. So, yeah, I'm glad to hear that he's trying to kind of stay a little bit balanced in that sort of thing, because it's a hard thing, almost as hard as doing a podcast by yourself. So let's see what other kind of news we got in the words of, or in the world, I should say, of NXT. And some other stuff here. Not a whole lot that I'm getting around here. So it's a little bit different to find something that I think you might find interesting. And, boy, did I ever. So NXT superstar Kyle O'Reilly took to Twitter today and announced that he'd been pulled from the UK Download Festival due to a back injury. Boo! Boo injuries. The medical man told me my back is still hurt, so unfortunately I won't be able to attend Download Fest this year. I'm sorry to all the great UK fans, and believe me, I'm gutted to be missing Tool, but at least now Rick Boogs, I think that's Bugenhamen, has an actual chance of winning the air guitar contest. That's pretty funny. So there's no word yet on when O'Reilly will be back in action. They've got some tapings coming up for the next couple of weeks. It'd be nice to see him still do something with that. Of course, we all know he wrestled at TakeOver 25. He was in that four-way ladder match with the Street Profits that we had mentioned earlier. And when the UK brand was announced as the main WWE attraction for Download this year, several superstars from the NXT USA brand were also named. It seems like they're kind of doing this whole jealousy thing between the UK and the WWE, which to me I think is intriguing but a little weird, because it's kind of like doing one of those things where back in the day they used to do the side-by-sides, with makeup and things like that. I don't know, maybe I'm not making sense here. I'm a little delirious, I'm not going to lie at this point in time. But we're doing what we can, and we're getting through it here, and we're trying to make some progress and see where we're at. So the last thing we talked about was this Chris Jericho thing. Sorry, this Kyle O'Reilly thing. I don't know where Chris Jericho came in. Whew. I am definitely tired here. So let's keep going. There has been some information about the NXT Toronto card, but we're not going to get into that. We don't do spoilers around here. I will say this. I did end up seeing some of them, and I'm excited for the Women's Championship match that has been decided for the event, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm not going to say about any of that. So before we go any further, then, I just want to quickly talk about Tyler Breeze. Recently, he jumped back, I guess down would be the proper term, even though it's not really down. It's not, a demotion, just a different place. But Tyler Breeze recently spoke with Byron Saxton to discuss his WWE NXT return to the WWE website. And it was recently revealed that both Breeze and Triple H made the decision for him to return to the NXT roster from the main roster. Now, Breeze was asked about how difficult a decision this was. And Breeze's answer might surprise a few folks, because he said it was one of the easiest choices of my life. He said, I was built here. I was born here. Anytime I ever questioned where I'm going, I head back home to NXT to get clarity. I head back home to recharge and reassess, and every single time it's paid off. I trust myself. I trust my skill. I trust my passion. I trust NXT. Breeze said he's only focused on himself with the NXT run, and he was asked what the primary difference are between his front experience and this one. Wow, that's a pretty interesting statement, to be honest with you. But I'm happy for him. He seems pretty happy where he is now, being back in NXT, challenging Dream, and there's some rumors that he may be getting his old partner back in NXT, which, I think would be pretty cool. Before I was a little, I don't want to say sour, but I was a little leery about the NXT tag team division once War Raiders, kind of slowed down or retired altogether, which is sounding like what's going to happen here, or at the very least, we'll be caught in the. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm kind of going off the rails again there, and I apologize for that. All I'm saying is that there's a lot to consider for sure. Whew, I'm getting woozy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick break. All right. If you are one of our patrons, we'll come back and we'll try to get some stuff done here. And if you're not, if you're a member of our paying public, or non-paying public, I guess, we'll stick around. After the break, we'll have more for you.
Hey, this is a commercial for patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca, where you can get early access to episodes of your favorite WrestleMedia shows, get full uncut and uncensored versions of your favorite shows, and more. Don't want to hear this commercial on your podcast anymore? Sign up at our main event tier and get these episodes ad-free. Want to hear your own commercial here instead of ours? We've got tiers for that too. Visit patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca and join the WrestleMedia revolution today.
That's going to wrap it up this week. Man, I need a nap. It has been such a great long weekend, and we have you listeners to thank for it. Thanks so much for tuning in to Forging the Future. On behalf of Jeff DeHaan and the entire WrestleMedia crew, I'm at Adam Conta. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
This has been a presentation of WrestleMedia, where everything is wrestling and wrestling is everything. Here's what you're missing out on right now over at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca.
Don't get me wrong. American Alpha was an incredible tag team, and we got some incredible matches from them. But I wish that the folks on the main roster would have seen some of those vignettes and said, oh, hey, this guy's entertaining. We should give him a little bit more of a chance to talk and entertain the crowd. Maybe he'll get more of a chance to do that on 205 Live. I'm hoping so, because now that they've lost Buddy Murphy and Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali, I feel like they're really kind of hurting for some top-level talent.
Want more? Sign up now at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca.